$33 a night. That's the average resort fee. One analysis found across the hotels in its sample that charged a separate line on top of the room, often for the Wi-Fi and pool you assumed came with it. On Rachel's 3-night stay, that's $99, sitting just outside the rate she thought she was comparing. So here's the real question. What does a hotel night actually cost? Not the advertised rate. Since May 2025, US hotels have to show the total with mandatory fees built in, which means the real night is the all-in mandatory total divided by the number of nights. The part most people miss is the single line in that rule that means the fee was never banned at all. And it all starts before you ever see a checkout screen. It starts with the listing. A hotel posts a low base room rate because in search results, that's the number that makes the listing look cheapest. Lower rate, more clicks. Then separately, it adds a mandatory fee. Call it a resort fee, a destination fee, an amenity fee. The label changes by property. The pitch is that it covers Wi-Fi, the gym, the pool, a couple of local perks. Things you probably assumed were already in the price. Here's the move. That fee sits apart from the room rate. So when you line up two hotels, you're comparing base rate against base rate, and the fee is off to the side, in smaller type, doing its quiet work. The FTC's own economic analysis found that splitting a mandatory fee out from the posted rate, without showing the total first, likely raises your search and your cognitive costs. In plain terms, it makes the comparison harder. How big is the fee? In one NerdWallet analysis of 160 hotels, the ones that charged a resort fee averaged $33 a night, with the range running roughly $15 to $50 a day. This isn't every hotel. The industry's own estimate, cited by NerdWallet, is that only about 6% charge one. But when you land on one of those 6%, the gap is real money. So let's do the math. $33 a night doesn't sound like much. Run it across Rachel's 3 nights, and it's $99 bolted onto the room that looked like the cheaper pick. The formula that fixes this is almost insultingly simple. Real night equals the all-in mandatory total, divided by the number of nights. Room plus mandatory fees, divided by nights. That's the number to compare, not the one on the search card. None of this is new, by the way. More than a decade ago, in 2012, the FTC warned 22 hotel operators that quoting a low price while leaving out a mandatory resort fee could be deceptive, and noted some of those fees ran as high as $30 a night. The fee didn't go away after that warning. It just kept getting collected. What did change is the disclosure. As of May 12, 2025, the FTC's rule on unfair or deceptive fees covers short-term lodging, hotels, and vacation rentals, and requires the seller to show the total price upfront, with the mandatory fees it knows about already baked in. One catch worth knowing: taxes and government charges, plus optional add-ons, can still be listed separately as long as they're disclosed before you pay. So the all-in number you billed still leaves out the tax line and the optional extras you didn't have to buy. There's a name attached to how aggressive this got, though only as an allegation. In 2019, the DC Attorney General alleged that Marriott used what it called drip pricing, hiding part of the true room rate under labels like resort, amenity, and destination fees. The complaint pointed to a Las Vegas example where a $219 advertised rate became $249 once a $30 destination amenity fee landed. That's an allegation, not a proven finding. But as a picture of the mechanic, it lands. The price you saw and the price you owed were two different numbers, and the gap had a friendly name. Here's what most people don't realize. The fee was never the clever part. The split was. The FTC studied exactly this in 2017 and found that separating a mandatory resort fee from the posted room rate, without first showing the total, likely harms consumers and is unlikely to produce benefits that make up for it. Read that again. The problem isn't that the fee exists. The problem is the order you see the numbers in. Show the total first, and the fee is just a line item. Show the base rate first, and it's a hook. So who actually pays for the split? Mostly the person doing the responsible thing, comparing on price. If you sort by nightly rate and book the lowest one, the system rewards the hotel that hid the most. The careful shopper and the rushed shopper both lose, just for different reasons. And this is the part that's easy to feel bad about and shouldn't. The reason smart people miss it isn't that they're careless. It's that the number was built to be missed. Consumer Reports made the point through one of its experts, Anna Layton, who noted that add-on fees make budgeting and comparison shopping genuinely difficult. The complexity isn't a side effect. It's doing a job. Consumer Reports also documented a traveler in Las Vegas who only learned at check-in that he owed a $35+ tax resort fee per night after the booking, after the trip was locked in. By then, the comparison is over. You already chose, which is exactly why the calculation matters more than any irritation about it. Rachel doesn't need to become an expert in federal fee rules. She needs one habit: stop trusting the number designed to look cheap and build the number she actually pays. But none of this answers the question a careful booker keeps circling back to. If regulators studied this, warned about it, and finally wrote a rule, why does the fee still exist at all? Because the rule never touched it. Here's the line most people miss. The FTC's 2024 rule does not ban resort fees, destination fees, or any amount. It doesn't outlaw a single pricing strategy. All it requires is that the whole price show up first, and more prominently than the rest. That's the whole thesis in one example. They didn't break the law, they wrote the price tag. The fee survived. It just has to stand in the light now, which is good news for you, because it puts the move entirely in your hands. 3 things. 1. Ignore the base rate. Compute the real night, all-in mandatory total divided by nights, and keep refundable deposits and optional add-ons in a separate column so you're comparing like for like. 2. If a mandatory fee shows up late or gets buried inside a vague taxes and fees blob, screenshot the booking flow, ask the hotel or platform to fix it, and report it to the FTC, because under the new rule, mandatory lodging fees belong in that upfront total. 3. If you carry hotel points, check the program. NerdWallet notes some chains, including Hilton Honors and World of Hyatt, waive resort fees on award stays, and Hyatt's top-tier status can waive them on eligible nights. Rachel went back to her 2 tabs and built the real night for each. The $129 room with the $33 fee came out to $162. The other one, no fee, stayed $129. Same neighborhood, same kind of room, $33 a night apart, $99 over the trip. She booked the one without the fee and kept the $99, not by being a lawyer, by doing one division problem. So here's the question worth leaving in the comments. Next time you book, are you going to compare the price they show you or the price you actually pay?